I could be a foppish dandy. Hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Russell.
And this is Popculture Pontification.
The show where we talk about various pop culture related topics.
And also probably a lot of cosplay and a lot of larping and a lot of other stuff to do with our guest, because we've got a guest, and it's Kerrie. Hello, Kerrie.
Hello.
It's a perfect introduction.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless.
You don't even have to do it again.
No, we the second time round aced it.
Yeah.
And that was like I think I count that as a first time. It was like a first, nailed it the first time.
Yes. Russell had a spaz attack when I first said the first line because he thought I was going to say his name instead of mine for some reason. But other than that, pretty good. Hello, Kerrie. How are you doing?
I'm going pretty good.
You doing pretty alright?
Yep, pretty chill, pretty relaxed. Enjoying my ginger beer.
Yes. No, only the finest for the people in my house. Thank you very much. So who wants to start? I'm like the arbitrator over here because again, I still do not have the internet and I have nothing to talk about except for the fact that I went to IKEA today and I bought a chair for Kerrie to sit on.
It's a nice chair.
Is it comfy? What's the comfort level? Is it alright?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually.
Is it alright? Yeah, good.
Satisfactory.
Yeah. Once again, only the best. That cost $50 at IKEA.
Yeah. Well, Kerrie, why don't you tell us and our listeners who you are, what you do?
Sure.
Paint us a word picture.
A worded picture, okay. I am a cosplayer. I've been making costumes for about 10 years. And then the last 3 years I've started larping. LARP is live action roleplay. For those who don't know what that is, I basically dress up like a huge nerd and fight other huge nerds with sticks. It's really fun. Yeah. I do that. I have been the brand ambassador for Epic Armories for about 1.5 years, and that is a company that provides LARP gear, weapons, armor, all those other fun things. Sometimes I enter competitions.
Quite often you win them.
Yeah, that seems to be a recurring thing.
You got a sad look on your face when you said that. It's like, oh yeah, I could win it. Oh god, terrible.
Oh no, well, I haven't really entered that many, so...
Is that like cosplay competitions?
Yeah, I've only kind of...
I don't think there is LARP competitions. Is there like prizes for LARP?
It depends actually.
Probably. There's
there
like
are...
best LARPer or whatever.
It depends on the game. I know I have been to a game that do like everyone gets to pick like who their favorite role player was that game, or who their favorite costumer was that game, or who their favorite fighter was, and everyone kind of votes. They think, oh, Alan, you looked really good this game. Let's give you an extra experience point, etc., etc. Not everyone does that. That's just that one game that I have. But yeah. You can't just be the best LARPer because there are so many different elements of LARP. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be good at all of them.
Well, I think I understand the basic idea of LARP. And Alan and I play D&D, so I know about tabletop role-playing games.
Yep.
We're a nerd in our own right.
Tabletop games
We're
are
more
best.
than one nerd, we're two nerds.
We're not a nerd squared.
Yeah.
I love a good pen and paper game.
Well, you D&D yourself.
Yeah, I do, yeah. It's kind of the only gaming that I really do anymore, besides on my DS, but yeah, yeah.
Here's a question for you. What edition do you play for D&D?
Either 3rd or 5th, mostly 5th lately.
Mostly 5th, yeah. That's the one I'm most experienced in, is 5th. I don't know
Anything
about
but
Russell.
4th.
Anything but 4th,
Yeah.
yes. Well, you've also played some Pathfinder?
Yeah, I love some Pathfinder. Our friend Michael, who is a natural DM, has made his own world, and then has taken like most of the rules of Pathfinder, and then added it into like this land and world.
Oh, he's homebrewed his own
campaign. So we've got some friends that have been playing that, and they've been really enjoying it and fleshing out his world, and yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Russell's got a lot of questions.
Oh, good.
I'm full of questions. So when in D&D you have to work out if you hit somebody with an attack, or you have to resolve some sort of conflict, or there's a decision, there's some chance involved. How do you do that in a LARP?
every LARP game has its own rules, but generally we have weapons, and they are made of a fiberglass core with foam wrapped around them. So even though they look quite real and they look quite solid, with a reasonable hit, you're not going to hurt anyone. So you would have, and again, every game is different. There's a game in Melbourne that doesn't have character sheets and doesn't have experience points or anything. You kind of just go as yourself and you dress and do whatever. They still have rules, but yeah. Where the game that I will be playing in Perth, which is Shattered Worlds, that's the biggest LARP that we have here in Perth. You get 100 experience points. You look up the rules, you decide the kind of character you want to play. It's the same as when you build your character in D&D, you know, like you just kind of have to go through those level 1 tier things. And yeah, like for example, my character for the next game coming up is a orc. She's an alchemist and is a bit of a pyromaniac, and she will be using a band gun. So it's like a replica gun that shoots like elastic bands, but like it was like rubber, like surgical rubber bands. And yeah, so that will be my weapon, and I've used all my experience points to get that equipment.
Okay.
So because of that, I can't pick up a sword because I haven't spent the experience to be able to, quotation mark, use a sword.
So even if you shoot somebody with your gun and they drop their sword, you aren't allowed to use it?
Well, no. I can pick it up, but technically I can't use it because my character doesn't have the skill to use it. Yeah. I mean, and then as you go through games, you earn experience, and then you can use those points to buy new skills.
Okay. But it is, like, if two people are having a sword fight, then the person who is actually in real life better at sword fighting would probably
sometimes
win?
Yep, sometimes. Like, basically you start off with 3 HP, that's just you as a person with no armour, and then as you add on armour, that's when you start going up.
Okay.
So say if you've got 2 people fighting each other and they've got the same amount of armour points, swords and staffs and stuff like that do 1 point of damage. Throwing weapons do 1 point of damage, and then you got things like bow and arrow and band guns. They do 2 points of damage.
Is that because they're harder to use?
No, I think it's just because they're more powerful. But,
okay.
So it'd be like if Alan and I were fighting in a sword fight, neither of us were wearing armour, we would just have to hit each other 3 times, and then you would act being hit. Like, you cut me on the arm, I would act like my arm is hurt. And
sort of, if you get hit on the arm, then you can't use that limb anymore.
Well, you can use it, but you would roleplay being injured, and then you would fight, and then you would, once your hit points are reduced to 0, you go to the ground, and you have a bleed out time. It's like 5 or 10 minutes. If a medic doesn't get to you in time, or a healer, then you die.
Do you just like scream, medic?
Yeah, scream for help, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what you do in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
You got stabbed with a sword.
Help me, I'm bleeding.
Yes. Yeah. I've always wanted to actually get into LARPing, but
there's a training day on Sunday if you want to join us.
I have the same issue that you probably have slightly, which is that I work on the weekends.
Yes.
Which is a pain in the ass.
So you can't have any sort of social.
So I can't have any sort of social.
Well, lucky for me and people like us who work on the weekends, most of these games give you about 3 months warning.
So I really should get into it. I really should.
It's so fun.
It is. I've been wanting to do it for a while.
It's exactly like getting lost into a game of D&D or Pathfinder, except you are the character. Like, you play it.
Well, you know, you have a beard.
I do have a beard.
Use words like dilly-dally, you could...
That's it.
You could be a bard or something.
I could be a foppish dandy. But yeah. So Russell is plays D&D, and you play in D&D, and we all play D&D. I'm the DM in that group. But I'm curious, like, what's your go-to class in D&D? Like, what race, what class do you
I
prefer?
always vary between orcs, elves, or like pixies, or like stuff like that. I don't know. Well, actually, one of my favourite characters that I ever played, I forget the name of the race, but they're those like huge cat beasts in Pathfinder. What do they call them?
I'm not hugely experienced in Pathfinder.
Okay, well they're like
big cat dudes.
Huge big cat dudes, and and like my character was like a huge saber-toothed tiger kind of humanoid thing, but that had ice magic, and it was I had a lot of fun playing that character, and then she was killed by a freaking goblin that shot her in the neck because I walked into a room without checking like for any traps.
Oh, okay.
And this goblin just came out of nowhere and like crit me, and I was like, I actually cried. I was really upset. God. I was really upset.
I am constantly battling as the DM of our group of whether I should kill players or not.
You really want to.
Yeah.
I want to. I've never killed any of my players.
Or your players' characters.
Players do dumb things and they deserve to die.
Yes. I mean, I made a conscientious decision to not kill Russell's character, who was in a underground lair where there was lava everywhere, and there was a big metal door, and he went up and touched it, and he's a dragonborn, and he's fire sort of aligned. So I was like, the door's hot, the door's like super hot, like your hand gets burnt when you touch this door, and you're immune to fire, basically. Yeah. He's like, I opened the door. And I was like, okay, there is a torrent of lava coming at you, like, roll to dodge, and he rolled a 1, and I didn't kill him. And I regret that decision.
You should have.
Sorry,
you should have died, Russell.
There were mitigating circumstances.
There was no
we were trying to run away from a mind flayer. We didn't have any other exit.
That's true. No, I'm not saying you had a choice. I'm saying you fucked the roll.
Yeah.
So you should have at least have lost a leg.
Another friend of mine, I was like watching their game, and she was like, she fleed she tried to dodge an arrow, but fell over the ledge into the water, and there was like a huge current, like a river, washing her away. So she had to keep rolling to be able to grab onto a rock. She finally got on a rock and climbed on the rock, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try and swim to shore." Fuck that roll and get stuck on another rock. She's like, "I'm gonna stay right here until everyone comes and gets me." Yeah, everyone else is battling up on the
So we should talk a little bit more about your cosplaying, because you've been doing that for as long as I've known you. And I've known you for a very long time.
That's how we met, actually.
It is how we met, actually, yes. That was back at the first Supernova. Yeah, Supernova meetups from,
it's like the equivalent of the Thursday, not like late night teenage hangout.
Yeah, basically, on the weekends.
Supernova meetups.
Which we all met on the forums for Supernova, which is a convention here in Perth. Pop culture, yes. So appropriate, Russell. So get your hackles down.
I haven't said anything.
I see
perfectly appropriate.
I see you out of the corner of my eye. Just, is this pop culture related? Get out of here.
Can I just interject? Do you like Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
Damn.
Oh yeah, Russell has never watched it.
Whenever
I've
I
only
watched
seen
it as a
Dragon
kid.
Ball Z, and that was because it was on Cheese TV.
Yeah, I watched it on Cheese TV.
Awesome.
But whenever Tim comes on, it's just non-stop.
Okay, well, it's not non-stop. We occasionally have one chat about Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. I was talking about cosplay, Russell, and you derailed us into Dragon Ball Z, the thing you don't want to talk about.
Carry on, please.
And I have no memory of this, but I'm actually quite curious as to what your first ever cosplay was.
My first ever cosplay was Riku from Final Fantasy X-2.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my cousin Ebony actually got me into cosplay. We used to live in Kalgoorlie together, which is this shitty outback town. It's
a mining town.
Not a lot is happening out there. So we used to watch cartoons and animate and stuff together, and watch a lot of videos on Newgrounds, and that was kind of our lives. And then she messaged me. At this point, I'd already moved to Perth, and she's like, Kerrie, like, there's this anime convention called YCon, and we should go to it. And I've been looking up, and people do this thing called cosplay. I'm like, what's cosplay? She was like, the people, they dress up as, like, these characters. I'm like, oh, that's such a cool, like, it sounds like so much fun. Like, that sounds really great. So we got on eBay, and we started looking for costumes we could wear, and she wore Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, and I had Riku. And I remember thinking, all right, this costume's coming. What else can I do to add to it to make it look really cool? And I went and bought like this shitty $10 wig from the reject shop or some discount store.
$2 store, yeah.
Braided it and added some beads. It looked awful, and then I had these like Ugg boots, which I put like blue fabric around to make it look. Oh, it was ugly. But at the time,
you thought it was this.
At the time, I was like, YCon ain't ready for what I'm bringing. Like, I look so cool. I've obviously put so much effort into this. Everyone's gonna be so impressed. I got there, and I was absolutely blown away at how amazing some of the cosplayers were. And I was just, for the first time in my life, I was with my people. You know what I mean? Like, I was at a place with a lot of people who were like me and Ebony, and I've never had that kind of experience before then. So I think that's why cosplay really stole my heart, because like I just loved being around people like that. And yeah, I remember as soon as we were left, as soon as we were on our way home, all I could think of was the next thing I was going to make, and this time I was going to be as good as those cosplayers that I saw. So
here's something you might not know, is that young Russell here was actually one of the founding members of YCon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be why you laughed.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of touching, because, you know, it's something I helped to start, and then it
became.
You were probably still on the
Positive
board at that point. Because that was
I was
a long
on the
time
board.
ago.
07. It was the Spies.
No,
YCon.
UWA and Murdoch.
Right.
And then after that, I took my leave.
Because you're far too cool to be on the board of an anime
That's it.
convention.
I was on the board. I was on subcommittee, so that was pretty fun.
Yes, and I was on the board as well. So, yeah, got a lot of history of YCon.
Sure
here.
do.
Unfortunately, it is dying.
Rip in peace. Though the new board seemed to be trying their best, so
Good on them.
I
If
have
they-
the optimism for them.
Yeah, if they want to keep it going, more power to them.
Yeah, nah. Let it die.
Well, you've seen the heyday, you've seen the rise, you've seen the fall,
Yeah.
and you now don't want to see it
No.
struggle on.
No.
It's a horse with a couple of broken legs.
Yeah,
Just,
pretty much.
like, the name is so tarnished now.
Yeah.
Just
It is,
let it go.
yeah.
and
It-
start something new.
I mourned it a long time ago when we first found out about what was going on, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there are bigger and better things happening. I'll look back at it with, you know, good memories and that's-
Nostalgia, basically,
exactly.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Kind of a
Yeah, it's got a bit of a down, got a bit of a downward spiral for a second there. That's fine.
What have been some of your other cosplay highlights? High points?
Oh, good question, Russell.
I remember the next YCon actually. I can't remember if it was the next one or one after. My cousin Ebony and I ended up starting a group called Zaz Cosplay, and it was just us being idiots dressing up in things that we liked. And we did a Disgaea group and a Haruhi Suzumiya group, and that was when I was like just discovering that I could sew, you know, and what I could do. And I lured all these friends that I just made at TAFE. I was like, you guys should come cosplay with us, come do this. And like, they were like, oh, I don't know how to make it. I was like, I'll make everything for you. And I don't know how I did it, but I think I made about 15 costumes for that convention.
Wow.
With their help here or there, of course. Like, I made 5 of the Haruhi Suzumiya school uniforms. And then I made all of our Disgaea outfits. And I just remember being so damn proud of how good we all looked and the reaction that we were getting from the crowd as we were walking through, especially Ebony, because she had this massive big black dress on with this blonde wig and she looked amazing. And as we were walking past, people were like, they're the professional cosplayers. Like, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, look at me now. Oh, okay, it was really fun. And then to get up on stage with everyone is really enjoyable. And then I just kind of kept doing that, you know, because that's what I love doing, and I love cosplaying with friends. And along the way, a lot of things changed. I moved cities a few times. A lot of the people who I originally cosplayed with don't cosplay anymore. And I think I kind of I definitely started cosplaying more for me. Not saying that I don't still love cosplaying in groups, but it just doesn't seem to happen as much anymore, unfortunately.
No, yeah, it's hard to keep a group on tack.
Definitely, yeah. But I think the biggest highlight would have to be winning the Perth round of the Comic-Con Championships of Cosplay. Like,
that was only quite recently.
it was,
well,
yeah. I'm going to the finals in September, so fingers crossed I do okay with that. But
and that's with your Crusader costume, yes?
Crusader from Diablo 3. Originally, I've loved the design from the moment I saw it. I love the Crusader. I think she's just such a cool character concept. I really enjoyed playing her in Diablo. It's just all around is right up my alley. It's everything that I love. And so I just had so much fun making it. I had so much fun wearing it as I was doing it. Like, it was everything that I love about cosplay. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, yeah, this is a pretty good, like, design. Like, this could do well in a competition. Well, why not? I'm making it anyway. I might as well enter it. And then I had a lot of confidence. And then I saw some of the other people entering in Perth, and I was like, fuck. They're really good. Like, oh, I need to really step up my game. I can't make any mistakes because, like, they're going to make me work for it, you know? Like, and then as I started seeing their work in progresses coming out, I'm like, oh, I've got no chance. But you know what? I'll just finish this costume because I love it, and I'll just go up on stage and I'll have fun, and that's totally cool. Like it doesn't really matter. And then it got to the day, and then like I remember being backstage, and I was the first person on stage, and I was almost hyperventilating because I get bad stage fright. You know, like going up on stage with friends is fine, but going up on my own, I was like, you know, like just really freaking out. And I was like, come on, Kerrie, get it together. And there's a song, this Diablo rap that I love, and I was singing that in my head to calm myself down. And I was like,
I thought you were going to say that you were going to perform it.
No.
That would be the best.
I definitely would have had a heart attack then. But no, I was like singing it in my head to calm me down. And there was about 9 or 10 contestants, and everyone looked amazing. Like Perth really stepped up their game this year. And I was like, look, there's a lot of great people here. I don't care what happens, you know. And I had all my friends, my mum and stuff in the crowd. You know, I went on stage and I did my thing, and it felt really good. And then they called out the winners, and I won the best armor category. And then I remember when she was about to announce the overall winner, I just kind of like, I was preparing to hear someone else's, you know, like I was just like, all right, like, here we are. And then she called out my name, and literally everything went silent. And I just lost focus, and the lights were in my eyes, and I just remember, apparently everyone was screaming, but I don't really, all I remember is just being in a real, like, bubble. And that is definitely the best moment I've had so far.
And you said you're going to the finals. Is that over east?
Yeah, in Brisbane, yeah. So basically they have a round in every city, Perth, Adelaide, Sydney, etc.
Yeah.
And all of us take the costumes that we won, and we all go into Brisbane for the finals. And
are you allowed to modify the costume?
I'm allowed to add detail. I'm not allowed to add new elements.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they'll obviously have a lot of photographic evidence of what it is in case people decide to play around with it.
Yeah, well, it's just more like I can't remake the pauldrons, or I can't add a new weapon or something like that. Like, it has to be upgrades of what I've already made.
So if you're just adding more like detailed, like engraving or whatever, that would
well, lucky for me, I did like a tier 10 Crusader, and I can easily amp it up to a tier 50, so yeah, give that a crack.
Just put in some fluorescent lights and all that sort of stuff.
So I do have quite a bit of room for improvement, so yeah, I've got a few plans.
It's good. It's interesting. What's it like, because I know you have gone at least over to the RTX convention over in, was it Melbourne?
Sydney.
In Sydney. For Epic Armory, representing them and all that sort of stuff. What other stuff have you done with those guys?
Well, with Epic Armory, it's kind of really kicking off, and we've got a few things that are being organised at the moment, but nothing's really been confirmed, so it's not something I should
you can really talk about
yet. But LARP is at a really exciting turn point where it's becoming more mainstream. It's getting to the point that they're making YouTube series about it. They're referencing more and more about it in movies, even if it's pulling the piss. You know, more people are still becoming aware of what LARP is.
What the hell was that movie that had LARPing in it? With the Big Daddy, the Big Brother sort of things.
What is it?
That's gonna drive me crazy now.
Yeah.
Russell, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Is it that one with Peter Dinklage in it?
No. That's an entirely different movie.
That is a movie about LARP.
That is a movie about LARP.
That's an amazing movie, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the one with...
Knights of Badassdom is the one you're talking about.
Who's the guy who plays Ant-Man?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's in it.
I know what you're talking about. It's the... why?
I can't help. Alright, you keep talking, I'm going to look it up. That's the advantage of having my phone here.
Well, you can just edit this together.
I'll cut all those. Oh, what is it? I don't know. And then later on, just cut it out. I was like, what's that movie? It's this movie.
You'll leave it in where we're saying, oh, what is it? And then you'll just edit it.
It'll just be me going like,
well, obviously it's...
Come on, guys. Clearly, it's this.
I knew all along.
Role models.
Role models,
that's what it is.
But
role models, guys. Come on, I knew that the entire time. Don't worry about
it. So LARP is definitely getting to the point where more people are noticing it, and it's even like there are certain TV series like I can't remember the exact show off the top of my head now, but they're wearing like Epic Armory's armor in TV shows.
Oh, really?
You know, like, and you can see the people in the back of the cast and stuff wearing their braces and their shoulder pads and all this stuff. So, it's this really exciting time where it's becoming more mainstream, which we hope means that more conventions will start picking up LARP things, and we're just getting a bit more available in Australia that the other countries have.
Well, I've got some friends who are involved with, I think it's called SEA.
Yep.
They do like medieval reenactment.
Yeah, they do like sword fighting and
yeah. Is that
show fighting
related to LARPing?
We have some people who LARP and SEA. There's that bittersweet rivalry that goes on, like where SEA.
What's the difference between that? I wonder.
They wear real armor and have real weapons, and they do show fighting.
Right.
And it's all like more historical kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they don't have
so
orcs and
no orcs.
Yeah, and they have like period accurate fabric and lacing and trimming and
so
stuff.
They're
like
the
that.
nerds of the LARPers.
Yes, they're biggest nerds. But like they are incredible fighters. So, and then you've also got Battle of Nations, which is think of MMA except for armor and weapons.
I've actually seen a bit of that
It's
stuff.
incredible.
Yeah. It's all like polycarbonate armor and.
It's
all that
supposed
sort
to
of
be historically accurate, so it has to be real steel.
Oh, okay, I'm thinking of something else.
James is actually trying out for it.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking about?
Well, they were like on this like sandy piece of ground with this fence around them and like bleachers with these people watching.
Yeah.
And it's like France versus Belarus or something. And it's just big dudes in armor running down the end and smacking each other.
Basically, the point is to knock your opponent to the ground. If they fall to the ground, they're out. And so it's not a case of SEA where they're using actual sword fighting skill unless it's 1-on-1. If it's a 5-on-5 or 10-on-10 or 20-on-20, which gets pretty crazy.
I think I saw 20-on-20. It was just
it's
chaos.
Insane, yeah. And they just
Bedlam,
basically use any matter necessary. I think the only rules are you can't aim for the neck or the back of the knees. And you basically just have to knock the other team down, and they use real axes, they use real spears, they use real everything. There's one, and it's like, I think it's a Mexican in a corner, and one of the Chinese team was like had an axe right in his head, and you could see his helmet go doosh 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 as it slowly started denting in before the ref got in there and pulled him apart.
Like maybe you should stop.
But yeah, that's the super hardcore. Yeah, so Australia does have a team. So if anyone's listening that's interested in trying out for that, they're looking for more people.
So that's like the UFC to the
basically
WWE.
It's
other ones.
Well, yeah, exactly. We are WWE in LARP because it's all pretend.
It's sports entertainment.
It's entertainment, yeah. While Battle of Nations, that's the real deal.
The stuff I've seen online is like this. It's just current tech. Like, they make armor that's like lightweight, carbon fiber, all that sort of stuff.
They do, what's it called? So the name has left me now. It's Russia's biggest export in metal. It's not aluminium.
Titanium?
Titanium. They allow titanium, which is apparently a bit suspicious, but what do I know? I don't know. You're allowed titanium armor, so I think that's the only metal that has been added onto the list that's not historically accurate.
Fair enough.
Sounds expensive.
It is. Yep.
Well, all LARPing and all that sort of stuff is expensive
definitely.
hobbies, yeah. Because I've had a look at Epic Armory's stuff online, because back at the very first episode of this podcast was right after the Pixel Expo quiz night, where I won a couple of gift vouchers.
Not this year's one, last year.
Last year's one, sorry, yes, apologies. Where I got a couple of gift vouchers, like $50. I was like, oh, cool, I'll have a look. I'm not really a person who LARPs, but I'll have a look. And I'm like, oh, this is all cool stuff. The $50 gift voucher is not going to cover this.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are quite a few things on there, but it's definitely no weapons, like no swords or anything.
No, it's a good price jump to get into it.
Definitely, but quite a few LARPs have a system set up where you can borrow things. And it's quite a great community that people are pretty happy to help out any way they can, so new players will come in and they can either hire out or borrow a weapon, and then from there they can just slowly start building their kind of costume.
Because it's not really weapons, I believe, aren't really something you can just make yourself.
You can. but they have to pass like
a safety rating or something.
Yeah, the organisers have to
get a bit of wood, tie a rag around it.
You're good to go.
Oh yeah, that's totally good. That's fine. I know in the US they have boffer larps in America, which I think looks ridiculous. They're basically pool noodles with pipe in the middle of it.
Oh really? Come on.
They think they're safer. I don't see how they are, but that's what they prefer to fight with. Not all of them, just a couple.
Bit of duct tape, good to go.
Pretty much is the general thing, but they look really silly. So, I also get a lot of my costuming from op shops. You know, like
treasure trove.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Fighting like dresses and stuff is the fun.
I made my Mad Max costume from Halloween last year.
Oh yeah,
op shop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there are a few. I mean, LARPs can vary and be anything that you want it to be. Like, the biggest game we have is a fantasy-based game where there are knights and orcs and elves and that kind of thing. But we also have another game which I help run called Project Summer, which is a horror survival sci-fi game.
Yes, I remember you posting stuff about this.
Yeah, and so basically our players are trying to survive on a planet called Iris, and you can be a synthetic, you can be a human, you could be... we have a race that you can play called a Trebacti, which is basically a parasite that attaches itself to the base of the neck. So you are the Trebacti, but you play the host kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I was imagining, like, you're walking around holding onto someone's shoulders.
No.
Like Yoda and
now
Skywalker.
Go over there.
No. The players make props, like huge bugs, basically, that are on their back. And the benefit of playing that race is your body, your physical body, doesn't feel anything. So technically it can fight and not ever be worn down or
you
fatigued.
You get a broken arm, don't worry about it.
It doesn't matter, you can't feel it. They can also be operated on without any anaesthetic because it doesn't matter. But the downside is the Trebacti itself is only 1 HP. So if they're not wearing armour and you get shot in the Trebacti, out.
Yeah.
Where a human body would have 3 HP.
Does the host die when the Trebacti die?
Yes.
Yeah. So
the host is technically dead.
Oh, okay.
The host has to be brain dead for the Trebacti to attach itself to them.
Right.
So it's permadeath style there, yeah.
We actually have quite a few players that weren't Trebacti, died in game, and now are Trebacti. Yeah, so their personality has to change because while you might have some muscle memory of your last, who you were before, technically that person is dead. Your new character is this Trebacti, which is latched onto itself.
Yeah, very interesting.
They have a really fun story, and it's funny when they were found, when their race were found, they had been living on a planet where there were no real sentient creatures. They were just kind of your basic kind of animals. Mm-hmm. So it didn't ever occur to them that they were doing anything wrong because that's just what they did.
Symbiosis sort
exactly.
of thing, yeah.
And so when a shitload of humans landed on board and they attached themselves to humans, they suddenly realised that what they were doing is pretty wrong because technically the humans are dying, or the creatures that they're attaching themselves die. And the way they reproduce is they slowly lay eggs inside. And then when they die, hundreds of more Trebacti blow out from their stomach kind of thing. I
would be very interested to see how you visually represent that while larping.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. We have these little bug things. Yeah. And so these creatures, now realising what they were doing wrong, a second load of people come through and realise the horror of what had happened. And these Trebacti are saying, no, please, we didn't know. Honestly,
don't worry about it, yeah.
We were just doing what we find natural, please don't kill us. And then a huge, big, society debate happened where people were either saying, "Go kill them, they're parasites, get rid of them, we don't have any need for them," and other people no, now that they're attached to humans, they're sentient beings, we can't just wipe them out, or wipe out a whole species.
Well, they weren't sentient before humans, were they?
No, their only thing they know how to do is to attach themselves onto something.
So was this a debate being had by players in the game?
In character, yeah.
Yes, this is happening in the lore, in the history, and then the players can bring this into game if they want. And then, basically the laws were changed, so Trebacti were allowed, but they could only be bred in Trebacti farms, and they're basically morgues. And so people who were particularly desperate for money would sell their dead relatives' bodies to these Trebacti farms. And the Trebacti were only allowed to reproduce via these bodies that were sold to them.
I'd be cool with that. I think that's a great compromise. Because you're dead. Who cares?
But then there are people who are afraid that the Trebacti have... they plan to take over.
Ulterior motives.
Yeah, so... Yeah, you can understand why that's a heated debate amongst the players.
Russell, I'm fascinated.
Yeah, my brain is like asking all these questions.
Yeah, because as I mentioned before the podcast, Russell is got a history degree and all that sort of stuff. So you got a real sort of
deal with Trebacti.
No, that was in the PhD course that you did. But no, this is like you're big into politics as well and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is all
complicated feelings.
Complicated, yeah.
Civil War.
Yes. Have you seen Civil War?
I have, and it is amazing.
It is the best.
Yes. I'm getting a little bit tired of that, I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler, so I'm getting a bit tired of that repetitive feeling of, oh no, the heroes destroyed a couple of buildings while fighting the bad guy, shame on them. It's like, what, would you rather be taken over by aliens? Because that's the other choice.
That was the other option.
Literally, like, I'm sorry that New York City got a little bit destroyed, but the other option was aliens, so keep complaining. And,
just fucking keep it in check, guys, come on.
Exactly.
Well, the big debate was, in my mind, the fact that they created Ultron, which wasn't kept secret. And that was what everybody was going off at them about.
Yeah. Among all the other examples that they showed, when they're like trying to make Scarlet Witch feel bad for that bomb killing a bunch of people, but there were so many more civilians on the ground.
Yeah, they were just like
surrounded. Captain America. So if she had let the bomb go off at like ground level, how many more people would? Oh God. Yeah.
Anyway.
Poor Scarlet Witch.
Poor Scarlet Witch. She's had a tough life.
She has.
Oh, but I'm glad you liked it.
I did like it.
Tim hated it.
Oh, of course he did.
Yeah.
Tim's got severe emotional problems.
Tim does have a lot of severe
And I just want to say, because one of our other listeners asked me the other day, do you and Tim get along?
Oh, you and
because
Tim?
we have like an antagonistic relationship on the show. But no, we do. We get along very well.
Yeah. You guys
I think
actually...
Tim has that relationship with everyone, to be
probably,
fair. So.
Yeah. Tim shows people that he likes them by being mean to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you...
And occasionally doing kind things.
Yeah, and occasionally doing kind things. But you and Tim in our D&D group are best of friends.
Oh yeah, of course.
Tim is a dwarven barbarian and pro wrestler,
yeah.
and Russell here is a paladin dragonborn.
Yeah,
good.
So they're Team Lizard.
That sounds
Lizard
amazing.
Beast. Yeah. Lizard Beast.
Lizard Beast. That sounds amazing.
But yeah, so yeah.
With Civil War, I think the one thing that Marvel movies seem to really be nailing that I'm loving is female characters and them in fights as well. Like, sometimes it's really hard watching a woman fight a man in a movie. It feels really uneven, even though she's supposed to be either superpowered or super strength, or she's supposed to be a strong fighter herself. It always kind of feels... I feel uncomfortable watching it, but just about every, like, especially in Deadpool, like the fight between Colossus and...
Oh, I forget her name, but yeah.
It's an amazing fight, and it looked like a fair fight between two super-powered people. And it's the same as watching Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. She's not super-powered, she's just incredibly flexible, but it's still amazing watching her fight and watching Scarlet Witch fight, and it felt really... like
it's not like damsel in distress.
Exactly,
stuff, yeah.
like it felt like a good fight, and I think Marvel have really been nailing that with their films, which is good to see.
It's true, they have, yeah.
One thing that occurred to me, I don't remember if I mentioned this on our podcast or not, but when they lined up the two teams in Civil War, each team had one woman and each team had one black guy. Yeah. It felt a little bit like Token. But yeah.
I think
no, that's not true, because Iron Man's team had two black guys, because they had War Machine and Black Panther.
Oh yeah, War Machine had his helmet on, so I wasn't thinking of that.
Well, you don't see colour anyway, Russell.
That's true.
You're very enlightened in that regard. But yeah, I'd be interested to see a Marvel movie where the female is the lead character.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are the talks of the Black Widow movie, which, unpopular opinion, I'm not looking forward to. Well, I am looking forward to it, but I'm not that interested in Black Widow as a character.
She's not got a lot going on.
And, like, she is cool and I like her in the movies, but I would rather see a Scarlet Witch movie or a Storm movie or a Rogue movie or a X-23 movie or, you know, like, the thousands of other...
Or
like,
Captain Marvel.
I mean, I'm certainly not going to
Marvel.
complain. I'm certainly going to watch it. I'm probably going to enjoy it, but, like, yeah, there's...
Yeah, Black Widow's storyline is really cliche.
Yeah, it's
like
probably
the
going to be like another
brainwashed
007
assassin
kind of film, yeah.
I would love to see a Captain Marvel, a Carol Danvers,
Yes. Yep.
get introduced.
The new Miss Marvel's pretty good, too.
Kamala Khan, she's great.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, that's the, was she like Iranian or something? Iraqi?
Yeah, she's Muslim, which is pretty cool, yeah.
I heard a rumour today that Captain Marvel will be in Infinity War.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go. But they don't say which Captain Marvel. Because there's like fucking 8 of them.
There's a couple. I want a She-Hulk movie. The day that I get a She-Hulk movie, like, I fucking love She-Hulk.
Oh, She-Hulk's the best.
And so, especially with like
She
all the
doesn't give a
A-Force comics coming out, so I was like, please give us a She-Hulk.
I mean, the ingredients are there.
Yeah,
We have
and I mean, is it
Mark
Planet
Ruffalo.
Hulk is coming up, so
Yeah. And Hulk is going to be in Thor Ragnarok
yes.
to replace Iron Man and Captain America. Because they're not getting on at the moment.
Yes, they're not friends.
They're indisposed.
Yes.
They can't afford that many actors.
Yeah.
There's not enough screen time.
But I do like the fact that in Civil War they've set up like for the sort of like new Avengers, Secret Avengers, whatever you want to call it.
They're really good at linking the movies. Like, I think they linked Ant-Man really perfectly. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like that was really good and very entertaining. I love that humour that they
Like
had
I
going
mentioned
on.
this in our spoiler cast for Captain America: Civil War, but I love the fact that they just skipped over pretty much every introduction of the character.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, exactly.
they
It's not-
introduced Spider-Man, and it was just a 5-minute riff
Yeah.
between him and Iron Man. It wasn't like,
It wasn't
oh,
necessary.
great power, great responsibility, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. It was like everybody knows
Who
who
you are.
Spider-Man is.
Yeah, we don't
Don't
need to
worry
explain
about
it. Yeah. I'm sure they'll Google it if they
And when
don't.
he was starting to explain to Tony Stark at his house, like, oh yeah, I got these powers because blah blah, and Tony Stark's like, no, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I just need you to come over here
Yeah.
and web some guys, and don't worry about it.
Do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched Ant-Man after...
At my suggestion,
Well, just because it came up on Netflix.
fair enough.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's
It was
really,
really
funny.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I feel like he only got better in Civil War.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
He wasn't around for very long. He was only there for 5 minutes.
Just that fun.
that's true, but it stayed true to the character, I think.
He did have one of the best lines.
Oh.
He was like, oh my god, Captain America, I know you too. You're great.
I was talking to Tim and he was saying how, because at the moment EB Game, you know those, what are they called? Those little,
Amiibo?
no, not
Or the
Amiibo.
Pop vinyl?
Yeah, those pop vinyls, like tiny miniature figures of all kinds. They've already got Warcraft ones, so they already have
Out
like...
for the movie.
Yeah, and it's
Ah.
like the movie isn't even out for a few months.
Yeah, I
and
was
he
gonna
was
say.
like, yeah, it happened for Captain America where they got all these pop vinyls and it had Giant Man. And they're like, well, apparently Giant Man's in the movie. Thanks.
alert, yeah.
So I was like, feel bad for the people that work at EB Games because these pop vinyls are slowly spoiling the movies for them.
That's something that's always happened, though. There's always, like, some sort of merchandise that shows what character is going to be in the movie. Like, it was all over in Fury Road, Furiosa. Figurines were out. And pretty much every Star Wars movie, there's, like...
Yeah.
Star Wars, they keep more of a lockdown on it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's always merch that spoils something.
Yeah.
But there's something I want to talk about, because I have no opinion on it, and you guys both have very strong opinions on it, is that the new Pokemon starters have been released. And
They just
we've
look
got
so
some
lame.
strong opinions on it.
We've got Rowlet, the leaf starter, who's a little owl with either a bow tie or a bikini.
Leaf bow tie thing.
Depending on what angle you look at it from.
And then there's the Lit Cat.
Yeah, Litleo, is that his name?
I don't know. He got
Litleo or something.
Litleo.
Yeah,
He
the
looks
fire
kind of
cat.
cute, I guess.
And then Popculture.
The seal.
Seal.
who
Just bring Totodile
nobody is
back.
gonna
Just
choose.
do everyone a favour and bring Totodile
No,
back.
Mudkip.
Oh, no.
We all know Squirtle's where it's at, guys.
Okay, we can all agree on water Pokemon then. Seems to be what we're here for.
Out of this lot,
Yeah.
I would definitely pick the owl.
You reckon? Nah, I'd probably pick the Firecat.
Well, I always pick Firestarter.
Yeah, because
But
usually,
this owl's
besides
too
Totodile, the fire starters were usually the best.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
But this is... It just looks like a cue ball with a little face drawn.
And a stupid bow tie.
Yeah,
Leaf.
an amazing bow tie.
Is it going to be like, it has to be just like a plain grass type, doesn't it?
It's
No.
grass flying.
It's got to be grass flying,
Yeah,
right?
it's grass flying.
And usually the starters are either
apparently the
pure...
combo they're pretty strong combos this time. Apparently, like
Because pretty much every other starter has just been a plain fire,
Yeah.
or a plain
But-
water, or a plain...
In the later evolutions, they do get other
Yes,
types.
because was it Charizard is a flying type?
yeah.
Yeah.
From what I've read, they've started off as pretty strong combos. So should be nice for all those people who like battling them.
Mm. I mean, I haven't
like
played.
battling them.
Yeah, I like battling them, but I mean, I don't go as far as to like strategically pick.
Oh, like
types.
you get people who dig down into like the math of it.
Yeah,
like you gotta
Tim.
fight. You gotta fight these sort of enemies to like get your special.
Tim
in
and
a
Ryan
certain
made
way,
that special team just to beat me and Ebony that time, which had that like steel type piece of shit.
I got a friend who last year travelled to Sydney or somewhere to play in the National Pokemon Championships.
Is it Lionel?
Lionel, yeah.
Yeah. Lionel is the lead ST for the LARP that I'm about to
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
ST, sorry.
Storyteller, organizer, DM.
Well, tell him Russell said hi.
Alright.
Look at this. We're making connections.
Yeah.
This is great.
But to hear him talk about Pokemon is just
It's just
insane.
It gets to the point if you go far down enough where it's just math.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. Is you're playing math
With bow ties.
with bow ties.
With tiny owls.
The tiny owl bow ties. Which is the best type of math, I guess,
Yeah.
if you're going to play a type of math. My biggest regret was I don't play a lot of handheld games. I played a Nutslock run. Where, Russell, do you know what a Nutslock run is? I think I've mentioned it to you.
When one of your Pokemon faints, you release it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's dead. And I picked like Sapphire or something. And then I was like, what starter should I pick? I don't know. I'll pick Totodile. Totodile's pretty cool. And that was like everything I caught in that entire game was a water type. It was ridiculous. There was so little of like every other thing. Like all I got was just water types. But I had Totodile at the end of the game at like level 90 because I just used him to blow
Non-stop,
through everything. But yeah, that's like my one foray into Pokemon in the past while.
I think the last one that I played was X.
Yeah, me too.
That was
That's
pretty enjoyable.
quite recently though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the second most recent one.
Mm.
I normally
you
skip
bought
one because they're all basically the same game.
Yeah.
So, 2
You
years
kinda
is
gotta-
long enough.
Yeah, you kind of got to get back into that. I feel like playing a nostalgic game
Yeah.
that isn't shitty pixels. So.
Well, you like bought the handheld to play X, didn't you?
Well, I got them both at the same time, yeah.
Well, that was like the driving
It's the same with
force
me. Yeah.
behind getting it. Yeah. Will you guys both be picking up the new one? Do you think?
I don't know. I might wait to see what a few people think. I'm really dedicated to Story of Seasons on my handheld at the moment.
Fair
so
enough. I have
it's
no idea
a
what that
farming
is.
game,
but okay.
and it is amazing.
Is that a Harvest Moon game? Or?
Yeah, it's the original creators of Harvest Moon.
Okay.
So they went, fuck you, we'll make our own game, Blackjack and Hookers, and they did exactly that.
A lot of places,
Do
a
they
lot
include
of developers
Blackjack
seem
and
to be doing that.
No, but you can make wine and cheese.
How appropriate for
It
your
is.
for your LARPing
Yes.
group. But a lot of developers do that. The guy who initially had a big part of Mega Man was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm gonna go make my own Mega Man game."
Yeah.
And he just went and I don't know the name of these games, so don't
Yeah.
ask me. Just went and made his own like
Remake.
just
Same with,
just enough creative difference to
Banjo and Kazooie are making ukulele,
yes.
and they did a Kickstarter for that.
And the guy who did was it Castlevania is making his own sort of
Yeah.
Castlevania game.
It's because it's like, the big companies, I assume, kind of get their claws into it, and they change the parts about the game of what people love. And it's been a long time since I've been really captured into a video game the same way I was captured into like Ocarina of Time and like a few like even like Crash Bandicoot
Final
and
Fantasy games
and
stuff,
Final
yeah.
Fantasy X was my one.
Well, your best cosplay, in my opinion, was your Final Fantasy X cosplay.
Lulu.
Lulu,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it was
because
awesome.
you look
I thought you were
remarkably like her.
Thanks.
So you were going to say the Riku with the Ugg boots.
Well, it was. Hey. It's just gonna be this like.
For those who could hear it, Kerrie was ripping the label off her bottle, and I've taken it off her because she's making too much noise.
But yeah, like I remember racing home from school I needed to do the next level, and it's been a long time since I've been like addicted to a game like that. I don't know. I don't know what the reason for that is, but I just feel like the style of games are a lot different nowadays. So that's perhaps why when these companies are going back to their roots and using like the original team to make very similar games, but with just
creatively different enough that they can't be sued.
Exactly. So I think that's why everyone's so excited for these kind of games and these kind of remakes.
Well, I think like one of my favourite games when I was in school and stuff was Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, which are very traditional fantasy RPGs based on
like
D&D.
using the THACO system and all that sort of stuff.
And then a lot of the staff who originally worked on that have produced a game recently called Pillars of Eternity, which was in the same sort of style and it had the same sort of epic fantasy plot and rah. And I was really excited to start playing it. And then when I did, it was all very similar, but I found that like what I wanted had changed in the 20 years between the old games and this one.
They were no longer using the THACO system, and that angered you.
No, that wasn't it. It was all the same sort of stuff, but I was like, man, I got to go to work tomorrow, and I got to do this before I go to bed. I got to cook whatever, and I didn't have time to spend 50 hours or 60 hours playing a game.
You're also terrible at time management in your personal life.
So you keep telling
So
me.
I say, yes. Yeah.
That's why I'm just digging this Story of Seasons game so much, because it's the Harvest Moon creators from the original PlayStation 1 game. It's just so satisfying.
Just ticking all the boxes.
Yeah.
I suppose the fact that you can just sort of jump on and off it whenever you have a spare couple of minutes, comes in handy.
Have you tried what's it called, Stardew Valley?
I've had a lot of people tell me about it, but I haven't played it yet. But I've got a few friends who are addicted to it at the moment, so I don't need
Ebony, for example.
I don't need to be addicted to 2 farm simulators. So
one at a time.
I've already got like close to 300 hours on this one, and
Jeez.
that's probably my record. Besides replays and stuff like that. So.
The game I played the most was the first gaming console I ever owned was the PlayStation. And
really?
Yeah.
It surprises me.
I didn't have a lot of money.
Old.
I didn't. Weren't you around when the Commodore 64 came around? I know. I grew up in a very poor family. We didn't have a lot of money for that sort of stuff. So the first console I ever owned was it was a 64, but the first game I remember playing to death was on the PlayStation, which was Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, it was the first Final Fantasy game.
I tried to play it without a cartridge and then stopped playing after you had to change the disc because I couldn't do that.
No, but I played that to death. To this day, I haven't defeated the underwater weapon, but I played it to death.
I did the same with 10.
I tried to get into 10.
Yeah?
I did, and it was just too railroady. Like, there wasn't really the sort of open world that I like, just running around.
It did open up eventually.
I just think I was finally out of, like, the introduction levels and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, all right, you're in an airship or whatever. I forget what it was. And you can, like, go off. Click the place you want to go, and then you'll go there, and you just walk through a path and all that sort of stuff. I was like, this isn't what I want. But
I really like it. It's just really pretty. The story really pulled me in. I love the characters. I love the character development. Yeah.
I mean, each to their own, I suppose.
See, 7 I found really difficult to play because I couldn't tell the difference between a door and a ladder, you know? Like,
it's
really painful.
If you didn't play it at the time, then going back...
At the time it was the shit, but going back it's really bad.
I also really love 9.
9 I love. That we can agree on. 9 is the best. 8 I hate. It's terrible.
Really? I liked 8.
It's just too much... It was just too much busy work.
Right.
It's like, you want to be good? Spend 10 minutes in this fight just drawing stuff from the enemies instead of punching them and getting it over with. But 9 is really good. Yeah, I really like 9. which just got released on Steam. Remastered.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I heard that 10 is probably going to get a PC release.
Yes, I believe it is.
It's pretty cool.
It's in the works, I believe, on a Steam. Steam just seems to be getting all of them.
I remember on 10, there's this like mini quest that you have to do to get Titus's ultimate weapon. And you have to ride on a chocobo and dodge the seagulls and collect the balloons. And you have to basically get a time of 000. And then once you do that, and you hit 000 by hitting the balloons, because the balloons stop the timer.
Yep.
Yeah. But the seagulls slow you down. So it's like, and they swoop at you, and it's so hard. I did it in the first try. And I was like, oh, that's really easy. And then I tried to do it again on Ebony's game, and I could not do it again. So we had it set up, and we were both playing at the exact same time. 2 TVs, 2 PlayStations. Yeah.
I suppose I could make fun of that, but one of the weapons, ultimate weapons in Final Fantasy VII, you have to just go and grind at a battle arena for God knows how many hours to afford it as well. So
I did that racing thing with the seagulls, and then I found out that the other part of the weapon I need was now behind one of the dark aeons. Yep. And I just couldn't do it. It was I got up
to the sisters, the dark bug sisters, and I couldn't beat them. I couldn't beat them. And I did that before I fought Sin. So when I fought Sin, it was so easy.
I never even got to that stage.
Really?
Because I was trying to do everything else first.
No.
And my Titus, because his damage maxed out at 9999.
Yeah.
And he would attack 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
It's like, whenever, in between everyone else's hits. But because his damage is capped, he couldn't keep up with them. Because Auron would come out and hit for 80,000 damage.
Yeah.
Oh, do they have you can break past the 999
with their ultimate weapon.
Yeah, if you have the ultimate weapon, you can do more than 10,000 damage.
Yeah. With Lulu's, to get hers, you have to dodge lightning 100 times.
Oh, that was so frustrating.
God damn it.
Seems so arbitrary.
Yeah.
You go out to this big desolate plain and you stand there and then the screen will flash for a second and then you have to slam the X button to dodge it.
Yeah.
And then you do that 18 times in a row and then you fuck it up and it starts back from 0.
It's so frustrating.
Oh. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
What a great game.
I really like the sphere system as well. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was good.
That's one of the great things about Final Fantasy, is that it's never the same sort of system. It's the same sort of... You'll get the same things. There'll always be a Bahamut. There'll always be some guy with a big sword.
Yeah.
There'll always be a Cid.
I don't know. This new game looks like a K-pop group. So.
Yeah, it does. I'm not sure about the new one.
Is there only 4... characters?
Yeah. Characters. I remember reading that your characters don't change.
And they all look basically the same.
Yeah, they're all
There's no big blue dude or guy with a gun up.
There's no animal. Or some
tiny chick.
Some tiny girl who's got a
huge crossblade or something.
Or a giant stuffed animal with a little cat with a megaphone sitting on his head.
Something like that. But
it's just 4 dudes.
Maybe it'll be great. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll wait for a review. I kind of stopped playing after 13. I tried to play, was it 12? Yeah, it was 12. And then, I left the castle and went out into the plains. And I was like, oh, cool, a T-Rex, I'll go and fight it. Obviously, it's here, I can fight it, right? No. It was a level 90, fiend. And I was level nothing. Just absolutely destroyed me. I didn't even save before then, too. So I literally had to watch everything.
Really?
Whole wedding again. I was like,
That's something that Final Fantasy is known for. It punishes you for not saving.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but another game series that's famous for long cutscenes is Metal Gear Solid. And in Metal Gear Solid 4, it stops halfway through a cutscene to give you a save point, just in case you had to go out or whatever. Somebody, phoned you to put down your game.
Russell is a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid. But that's the movie game.
Yeah.
It's the
game.
Then
after you save, it just loads up the next bit of the cutscene.
The reason why is that up until that point, that had filled the memory buffer after that. So I was like, do you want to save here? We're at this point. We can dump all the rest of the stuff and load up more.
I remember talking to Ebony when she was playing 13, and she said it's so easy. I literally walked into the other room, went to the toilet, and I was mashing X and fighting a boss the whole time. And she won. And she went and got herself a little snack and went back into the room and still going.
Still going.
X. It's fun.
But I don't know. It seems the difficulty level does seem to decrease.
Yeah.
You know, like it's press X to win.
Yeah.
In
Not that I
later
necessarily
Final
mind
Fantasy
those kind of games that make you feel powerful. Like I remember really enjoying Heavenly Sword, and that's a very short, simple game. That's not particularly hard.
I remember Heavenly Sword,
but I just remember really enjoying it because you just smash stuff. And
was that like it was a bit like God of War?
A little bit, yeah.
Similar, yeah.
That was like one of the early releases.
Yeah, it was one of the games that was basically made for PlayStation 3. So I really enjoyed it, but I probably finished it in about 10 hours, so it wasn't very long.
I remember the demo coming out, and it was just like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You just go through a wreck shit.
Yeah, just swing your sword around and spin to win.
But yeah, so good fun. Final Fantasy games. But they've made a lot of mistakes.
I think that's why they've been holding out on the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's a trump card, you know? That's their...
It's like if they cock up,
yeah,
it's gonna be
if
like,
they actually start losing
Final
money,
Fantasy.
they're like,
Well, they've announced it now. The official remake is in the works for God knows how long.
But it's going to be
Kingdom Hearts
like
3 too, and then everyone's
episodic.
frothing at the mouth.
Is it actually going to be episodic? Have they said that?
they're releasing it in segments.
I mean, that's
I'm
not...
a bit worried that like the first segment is going to be like the power plant. And then you'll have to wait another 2 years.
It's going to be like 18 segments long, yeah.
I think people will riot, yeah.
I mean, I can understand why. I mean,
it was like 5 discs, wasn't it?
It was four discs.
Yeah.
It was it 4 or 3? I can't remember.
It was 3
not
on
important.
PC.
Yeah. But having said that, if you do want to go back and replay it, the remastered version on Steam is the way to go.
Is it actually...
Can you tell the difference between a door and a ladder?
You can tell the difference between a door and a ladder.
Oh, good.
I tried to get my then girlfriend, this was like 5 or 6 years ago, I tried to get her to play it because I was like, oh, this is one of my favourite games when I was a kid. And she was like squinting at the screen. She's like, what's that? What's that? I'm like, he's Cloud. Yeah. Is he me? Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I moved this blob of pixels around.
Yeah. But yeah, the remastered version is the way to go if you want to rewatch it. But you can break that game so easily. All you got to do is spend enough time to like grind up the counter materia, and then somebody will hit you and you'll do like 18 attacks. I made the mistake of grinding
areas.
Oh, you grounded areas up to...
that was painful.
The long time ago, a friend of mine bet another friend of mine like $100 to grind Eris to her final limit break.
Yeah.
Before she died, in like one of the first areas that you get access to.
How long did they do that for?
And it took them about 6 months.
Wow.
Because they would just do it while they were watching TV. They would just wander back. Because eventually you get high enough level, you can just defeat anything in like one hit. But it was like, to the point where it was like, next level, 1 million experience points. You defeated that guy, 15 experience points.
Oh my god. It was like the guy that spent like 3 years catching all the shiny Pokemon or something like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just grinding like with 3 games going at once and just walking around in the bushes and then just trying to catch the shiny Ponyta or something.
Some people, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of respect for those people because they're doing something just to like go, this can be done.
It's funny.
Here's me doing it so you don't have to.
In X, you know the gift Pokemon that you get? What's his name? The robotic...
The Kerrie?
No.
Gift Pokemon.
Yeah, like you... why did I get him? It was one of the gifts. It was like a special edition gift that came with X for a tournament that I went in. And I didn't realise that it was a shiny. Because I was just like... It's like Megaton or something like that. But, I didn't realise it was a shiny because I'd never seen this Pokemon before. So I was just going around playing.
Like, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I was like, when we were getting into the discussion with Ebony, I was like, I don't have any shiny Pokemons really. And she was like, I was like, how can you even tell? Like, obviously you can tell with the main ones. Like, if your Charizard's purple, that's a pretty... I didn't know that. And so she was like, yeah, check your party and like, or check your Pokemon and have to have a little star. I was like, my main guy, who's like level 90 has one. I didn't realise, so...
You see, people like grind to get their starter Pokemon shiny.
Yeah. What? Can you do that?
You can.
You just
there's
have
like
to load the game.
There's like
900 times.
Really minuscule chance that you'll go and open up one of the Pokeballs in the starting screen and it'll be shiny.
Wow.
And people will just do that, but then they're like, "Is it shiny? Not off on."
I would lose my mind if I had gotten that. I'd absolutely lose my mind.
I remember back in the Game Boy days, you just like have a hacked ROM.
Like
that never felt as good though.
No.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking for about an hour or so now. So,
nice.
There's, I suppose, yeah. One thing we can do is that quite often, obviously, someone who is far too busy to listen to our Pithy podcast, or so you say, wouldn't be aware of, is that every week we tend to do this thing called forced review, where one of us will force the other one to watch or read or play or something or other, something that the other person hasn't, but you have.
Yeah.
And whenever we get a guest on, we like to have them give us both something to do. So if you can think of something, we can just cut. Like, if you have to take 15 minutes to think of something, we can just cut it out. Yeah, I might have
to think of something. Well, I mean,
but we have to be able to do it by next Thursday.
Are you guys both free? Are you both free on Sunday?
Oh, you want us to go?
You want to come to a free LARP training?
Free LARP thing?
We got D&D on Sunday.
We do have D&D on Sunday.
It starts at 1:30 in the afternoon.
When does it run to?
Whenever we finish.
Okay, well, do you have like an estimation of how long it usually takes?
We have it at our friend Sam's place, who owns a big bit of property not far out of Coburn, and we literally end up spending the night drinking around a bonfire. So
okay,
yeah.
I am probably not going to be able to get off work in 4 days.
Alrighty, what else?
I'd be happy to come and do it.
What about there's Wednesday training?
I'm free on Wednesdays.
It's Wednesday night training.
Russell, you free on? Was it next Wednesday?
It's in Gosnells.
That's fine. We'll carpool it. Oh, Russell's
carpool.
Checking his
my schedule.
His very heavy schedule. Oh, I believe I've got a Tinder date on next Tuesday.
No, theoretically, I'm free on Wednesday.
Yep. We're calling it.
Alright. We'll come to LARP training on Wednesday.
Come to LARP training on Wednesday.
I'll bring some weapons for you, so you can you'll be brought up to speed on the basic rules when you're there, and we basically just do like fighting games.
Oh, I'm in for it. I'm down for it. Fun fact: back when I used to live about an hour away from Perth, down in like equivalent of Mandurah distance away for those who are aware of it, there I got into like the concept of like medieval combat and stuff like that. And back then, this was like 10, 15 years ago. There was like one group in Perth that did it. I have no idea if they still exist, but it wasn't LARP. It was like actual medieval combat called the Grey Company. Yeah,
Grey Company is still here. Yeah.
They're still around? I was a member of the Grey Company for like a year.
Nice.
But I lived so far away, it was so hard for me to get up here. I think I attended
There's a few people who are in Grey Company who LARP, so you might recognise some people.
It's possible, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like going up there for like, come and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet. And it was on like a Sunday or something. And I'd never really been to Perth. It took me forever to get there. I was like, this is awesome. I want to join. How much to join? They're like, oh, like $10 to get a membership or something. I was like, shit, I haven't got any cash.
Yeah.
There's an ATM. No, there's none around here. And I just like scrounged through my car and found enough change. And I was like, take I'm in.
My change, yeah.
But God, I haven't thought about that in years. But yeah, I'm excited for LARP training.
Yay!
It'll be fun. It's definitely the most unique forced review we've had.
Yeah, it is.
So
last week we had to watch Bridge to Terabithia.
We did.
Was that alright?
We're both too old and jaded to care about that movie.
Not the target audience.
Not the target audience.
Because I'm pretty sure that besides LARP, you and I have very similar tastes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So even looking at your book collection is basically my book collection. And with movies, it'd be like The Princess Bride. And I know that you're all about that, so...
It'd be hard to find one that we both... Russell, fucking weird history major that you are. I said that weird history major that you are.
Story.
There's a lot of
weird
stuff.
Sentence.
Yeah, the weird history major you are. There'd be stuff that Kerrie and I would be aware of that you wouldn't be aware of.
I feel like you need to film it on Wednesday to add to wherever you post your podcasts.
Sure. Well, Russell's got a fancy
camera.
You can bring your camera, yeah.
It'd be pretty entertaining.
I'm looking forward to it.
You could fight James.
I could have James would kick my ass.
Yeah,
I can take it. Kick daddy.
I'm looking forward. I'm excited.
Cool.
I'm down for it.
It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, Kerrie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Was there anything you would like to plug or any of your own businesses? Or?
The Doyle Rules.
I meant like your Facebook group or anything like that.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to check out my cosplay, it's Astrokerrie. That's on everything from Facebook, DeviantArt, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube. I do post LARP videos on my YouTube. Yeah.
Awesome.
Be cool.
Cool. Great outline. Great exit line. If you've enjoyed the podcast, you can go to our website, which is popculturepon.weebly.com, where Russell will be posting like the blog post about the stuff we've talked about today. So a lot of Final Fantasy stuff will get posted on there.
It's just going to be the Final Fantasy
One link on there will be Final Fantasy. And you can go and email us at popculturepon@gmail.com for any sort of forced reviews you would like us to do or anything along that sort of style.
Questions, comments, etc.
Complaints about Russell, don't complain about me. I'm the one who
Can people give you a forced review on like food?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Whatever.
It's a lot of power you guys have.
Yeah. I mean, we get to cherry pick what we do, I guess, but yeah.
That's no fun.
It's not like first come, first serve. Food jokes.
Ooh.
It's a food review, first come, first serve.
Yeah, but when I'm thinking food, I'm like an entire bowl of wasabi. Like,
there's limits. I'm just going to be getting a lot of suspicious emails from Kerrie, spelt with a Y.
Terry and
Jerry and so on and so forth.
You can find us on social media at popculturepon on Twitter and facebook.com/popculturepon.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the best way to get in touch with us.
Facebook?
Yeah.
On YouTube as well. But
youtube.com/G69_7APRF
or something. Who cares?
Yeah.
You need like 100 subscribers to get a personalized YouTube address.
I think I've got one.
Man, you brag about
100 subscribers.
I don't think I do though.
Maybe I'm an idiot and you can get another one. Anyway, not important right now.
You have to be on there for 30 days at least.
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed this podcast, you can feel free to come on back next week for another episode of Popculture Pontification. Yeah.
Without Kerrie.
Sans Kerrie.
I will go home and work on cosplays.
Yes.
Orc
what's
costumes.
next?
What's the next one on the...
Can you give us a spoiler?
It will probably be an orc from WoW. From Warcraft. If not, it will be She-Hulk.
Well, it's both green, so
Yeah.
it's a crossover there.
Green and monstrous. It's my thing.
Cool.